Okay. All right, Shalom. So I had a couple questions that I need to answer. Number one is how many? Where, oh man. Okay. The first question is the 7 years that are remaining. Because when you do the math, if you do the math, and I've done the math over and over, I had 2107 years, right? And then you add the 6 years, which is 343. So I wind up right in the middle, smack dab in the middle. And then when you add the 3083, hold on, what number is that again? It's 6 years to be 6, so 294. Oh, 62 weeks of years. So 3038, okay? 3038. So when I add 3038 to my year total, I have, oh boy, I'm trying to answer some questions here and I can't even do the math. So again, I had 2107 for the year when the answer was given. That's when Levi died. So I had 343 because that's the how many years is that? 7 years? Yeah, 7 years to King David. The command to build Jerusalem. That's what I'm proposing right now. And then when you add the 3038, which is 62 years, you're at 5488. So when you take 5488 and divide it by 49, I'm at 112. So I still have 7 cycles to make up for. So my question is, where does it say in Daniel 9 to include these 7 cycles? Do we just put it in because that's what's remaining? Is that just by default? Because I know it says 70 weeks. So does that mean just by default you just have automatically 7 weeks that remain? Because if I multiply that, the 112, I'm at 5488. And if I add 49, 3, 4, 5, 6, I'm at 5782. Or actually, one more. I have to add one more. And he says that in the book that in the middle of the week, the covenant with many is made. That's 1972-ish. And then that covenant is ended the following Jubilee cycle, which is the middle of the week again. That's 2020. So, I mean, I get that, but my question is, where does it say in Daniel that you just put the 7 years, whenever you want? Like, you just, because that's what's remaining, so you just have 7 more, you know what I mean? And then one of the things I looked at when I was looking at the historical timeline is, we know that a lot of the prophecies have to do with Israel. And when I say Israel, I mean Great Britain, I mean America. And when I was looking at this chart, America rebelled against Great Britain officially in 1775. That's when they started the war, culminating in their freedom in 1776. If you look at that on this chart, it's the 114th, or Yeah, 114th, 115th Jubilee cycle. And it's smack dab right in the middle of that cycle. It's the 25th year of that 50-year cycle. You can't get more in the middle than that, and that's super significant. Them leaving the British Empire officially. That's one of the biggest events in human history, I would say. I mean, in terms of civilizations, the American birth of the American Republic. And then you have the Civil War. The American Civil War takes place only 2 Jubilee cycles later in 1865. That's when it really reached its peak from 1861 to 1865. And that's in the, not in the very middle, but it's pretty much 2 Jubilee cycles later. So, I mean, America was pretty divided. Actually, since then, I'd say they've been pretty divided, even though physically they're one country, but they've been pretty divided since the Civil War, in my opinion. And so, I mean, if you really look at it honestly, that's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I don't know if you want to include 7 Jubilee cycles of just them being kind of like part of like the 13 colonies and all that, because that's when they started to colonize America. When they started the colonies, that was in the beginning of the 113th cycle. So if you want to be kind of technical about it, yeah, that's actually 7 Jubilee cycles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 7 Jubilee cycles to do with America. Kind of form the formation of America, and then finally, splitting from Britain in the middle of the following Jubilee cycle, the 114th, and then having a civil war. Just 1, 2, 3, 4, just 4 cycles into colonizing. And then, the terrorist attacks, 9/11, that took place on the 119th, 120th Jubilee cycle, the first part of the cycle, pretty much. And I think there have been other attacks as well before that, like the Oklahoma City one. And I don't know what year that was. Let me just look it up. The Oklahoma thingy bombing. Oklahoma City. Yeah. See what year that was. If that was right at the beginning of the cycle, then that's not a coincidence, is it? It was 96 or after. Oh, 95. Okay, well, I guess it's not connected then. Yeah, I suppose that's not connected. Although the year does start in the spring. Never mind. It's okay. But I was just thinking about that. Where do you fit the 7 years in? Because my brain is kind of dead now. I can't really think. You just shove those years in because they're just remaining. So you just have to insert them just by default because there are 7 cycles left. So automatically, you just put them in. Although it doesn't tell you what to do with it. It just says that, the 6 years are given, or 7 years, I should say, the commandment to answer, which is what I was saying. And then I explained that in detail in my previous 5-hour video up to the Messiah, the Prince, anointed, King David. So that's what I'm hypothesizing. I just have to find out what year that is. I'm projecting 2451. That's my projection, because that's right in the middle of where it needs to be, thereabouts, 2451. And that would be the 50th Jubilee cycle. So that's my projection. And then from 2451, you have an additional 62 Jubilee cycles. And it says that, what does the prophecy say again? I don't have my Bible with me right now, but I just look it up really quick. What does it say? Daniel 9, yeah. It says that after 62 weeks, the anointed shall be destroyed. So this is so until the going forth of the command to answer for the building of Jerusalem until the anointed prince shall be 7 weeks, and 62 weeks. So 62 weeks from the building of Jerusalem to the anointed is 62 weeks. Is that how am I supposed to take that? Is that right? 2107 plus 343 plus 343. So if I add 3038, that should give me 5488. I don't know what happened in 5488. There's really nothing of note. There's nothing on that date. That's why that really perplexes me. I guess that's just the way I interpret that 5488 is that it's just a marker in time to say that this is the limit of when all these things will happen. See, 5488 is actually the year 1652. I looked it up. There's really nothing that happens in that period, but maybe I'll look it up again. So in 1600s, there wasn't too much that happened. Significant events, not that I could see. 1652. I don't know, but I take that to mean that from the time of Messiah the Prince until this time frame, until 1652, you're going to have so many things happening. That's why it lists them like as in a succession. It's not, see, from that period of time, from the 50th Jubilee cycle to pretty much 112th, you have 69 Jubilee cycles, and so much happens. That's why it says here, see, look, 70 weeks have been determined for sin to be ended. See, that's going to happen. That's Yeshua. Seal up transgressions, that's also him. Blot out iniquities, that's also Yeshua. To make atonement, that's also him. To bring in everlasting righteousness, I think that's him too. To seal the vision and the prophet, and to anoint the most holy. So that's all going to happen in that 70 weeks. But within the 62, it says you will understand. You shall know and understand. And then the prince 7 weeks in 62 weeks, right? And the time, and then shall return. The street shall be built, and the wall, and the time shall be exhausted. So, talking about all these structures that are going to be built, it says after the 62 weeks, the anointed one shall be destroyed. So I'm taking that as, I guess Yeshua will be destroyed, like as a human, and there's no judgment in him. So there is no judgment of sin in him. He shall destroy the city and the sanctuary with the prince that is coming. So that's speaking to actually what this is after. Well, this is after the 62 weeks. Okay, never mind. This is future. This is the future event after the 62. Yeah. They shall be cut off with the flood at the end of the war, which is rapidly completed. He shall appoint to desolations. In 1 week shall establish a covenant with many. So 1 week, one sabbatical cycle will establish the covenant with many. I know in the book it says the agenda 21 and the UN thing, and that makes sense. And in the middle of the week, the sacrifice and offering will be taken away. And on the temple, the abomination of desolation, and at the end time, should be put to desolation. So I don't know what year Antiochus Epiphanes is, but that'll probably be good to look up. So I'm going to look up Antiochus Epiphanes, Epiphanes, whatever you pronounce that. So he was one of the cruelest people, really. And when did you rule? 175 to 164. So if we look at those years, it should show that the abomination of desolation took place in the middle of the Jubilee cycle. That's when it should have taken place. And he ruled, 164 to 175. 175. No, this is showing that it happened towards the end of the cycle, but it was the 75th Jubilee cycle. So I don't know to reconcile that one. Yeah, that's confusing now. And then, like I said, the year that I got, 1652, didn't really notice anything significant. So, like events of the 1600s, 1600 in history. So, like, what happened in the 1600s, specifically 1652? I guess that's a sabbatical cycle, you could just say, from the beginning to the end. Let me see if there's anything significant. Jamestown, Virginia is established. The first English colony, first permanent one on American mainland. So that could be something, because that's the first time where America starts to form among the colonies. So that could be maybe something that is brewing. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 cycles, if you want to count that, but I don't know if that's really what it is. Galileo, no. The 30 Years' War, no. Dutch ship to bring African slaves to British North America. That's a big one, but it's not really. But I'm thinking about, like, in terms of the covenant, the Pilgrims arrived in 1620. Massachusetts Bay Colony, Inquisition forces, Galileo, English Civil War. So we had a civil war in 1642. Taj Mahal completed. End of Ming Dynasty. End of 30 Years' War. The German population about half of what it was because of war and pestilence. 1644. Cromwell dies. English Parliament calls for a restoration of the monarchy. That's pretty big. British take New Amsterdam. The Great Plague. That's Black Plague. War of European Powers against the Turks. James II succeeds Charles II. It calls for freedom of conscience. Yeah, not really. Peter the Great becomes Tsar of Russia. Defeats Charles II of Sweden. That's pretty big, actually, Peter the Great. But I don't know if that's really the thing I'm looking for here. William III defeats King James. Yeah, that's all I could find. So again, there's nothing really significant, like really, really big from that cycle that it says, I guess we just overlook all the events besides America rebelling against Britain in the middle of the 114th Jubilee cycle. That's pretty significant, I'd say. That's a pretty big event. And then the American Civil War just happened in the 116th cycle or 17th. Not in the middle, but pretty much 2 cycles after the establishing of the United States. Yeah, I can't really answer the question as to where do these 7 years go and where they mentioned in Daniel. It just says 70 weeks are appointed. So, I mean, I guess we don't take it into account. We just look at the 7 years where the command is given, and then or whatever the response, the command to respond, to answer, the command for the answer is given, and then it leads you to King David, and then after that you have the 62 years of just a lot of stuff happening. But overall, I know it says 62, but in reality, there's still a lot of time remaining in terms of the weeks remaining. Like, because I had 2107, right? Again, 343 plus 3083. And that's not even the number. 62 times 49, 3038. It's not even the number. 3038 is the number. If I do the math one last time, 3038, and I had 343, 5488, right? And if you divide that, I still have 7 cycles, 8 cycles to go. So I have 392 years to work with. And well, just there's 8 Jubilee. So I know that Daniel says 70 weeks are allotted for the people, for the people of Israel, or whatever it is. And 3 or 6 are, sorry, not 6, 7 is from the command until the anointed King David. That's how I understand it, to build Jerusalem, I should say. And then another 343, I think, 3,430 till King David or something like that. And then that's Yeah, because I didn't get King David from there. I just got a random year. And then there's still 8 Jubilee cycles to go to finish it off. So I don't see the 8 anywhere. So that's my question. So I'm just going to see what date he comes up with after the 62 in the book, and that's it. So I'm going to finish the stream. It's just a question. I think it's an important one that needs to be asked. So that's that.